keep also another feature of the same problem, or another face, is the polarization, right? We live in these anxious times. We're coming up on an election in which, a presidential election in which nobody seems to have a high ground, right? Everybody's fighting and moving lower. We're living in a moment of economic turmoil. People are worrying about their debt, geopolitical turmoil. We're worrying about climate change and water access and like really fundamental problems. And so I was wondering, I'm just thinking through how it is that these questions of loneliness are emerging, you know, when we, in that polarizing context, right?
Well, I think part of the human condition is to be lonely. So we all have to wrestle with that in some ways, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be lonely. It's not a bad thing to build resiliency, to keep yourself occupied. In some ways, the phones have maybe disallowed us from actually working through those issues. I did a podcast the other day with some friends of mine, Rainn Wilson, who's an actor from The Office, and Reza Aslan, who's a scholar of religion. They have a new podcast called Metaphysical Milkshake. It just dropped, and I did an episode with them called Why Are We Lonely?
It's a fantastic episode. I listened yesterday.
It's free, too. The one episode is free. Everyone else had to pay for it. So. But what we all came to the conclusion, me, Rainn, and Reza, is that even though we didn't grow up with social media, the loneliest time of our life was our time in college. For me, the loneliest year of my life was my first year in college. And so I think that's always been part of young adulthood, thinking about suffering, thinking about loneliness, thinking about relationship building. So in that way, it's not all that different, right? But at the numbers that we're seeing now, it almost feels like it's a different kind of loneliness. It's not loneliness that builds character, it's loneliness that people feel like they're drowning in. And that's my big concern for my students. What I want all of you to know here is that you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, you do matter. And I feel many of my students haven't actually heard that. You know?
Yeah, that's powerful.